what's yours. If you ship by FedEx and UPS, you know rates seem to go higher each year. How can you soften the blow? Well, did you know that every time you ship with UPS or FedEx, whether by ground or air, your package is guaranteed to be delivered on a certain day by a certain time? And if your package is even 60 seconds late, you're entitled to a 100% refund for the cost of the shipment. The problem? Who has the time to track all those shipments, check delivery status, and request refunds? In writing, within 15 days of the shipment. That's right, you have just 15 days to claim each refund or it's lost forever. It's simple. You need a refund genius. Our software tools and automated process will track your shipments and claim your refunds. All you need to do is complete a simple one-time sign-up process, provide your shipping credentials, and we handle the rest. Any refunds appear automatically on your monthly statements from UPS and FedEx. Refund Genius splits the savings with you. There's no risk to you. No refunds equals no charge. And at Refund Genius, we're not just out to improve your bottom line. We're out to help you change the world a little bit at a time. We let you direct half of each the Refund Genius fee to one of our partner charities. Sign up today. Claim what's yours.
Hi, my name is Avery Smith. I'm the CEO of my company, Refunds Genius. First, a little bit about me. I moved here early this year from Southern California. I like to say I'm computer science driven. I've taken an online course at Stanford University, CS 101. I took AP Computer Science last year, and next year I plan on continuing and taking a computer science class at Arapahoe Community College. Next, I have an interest in entrepreneurship. I like the idea of starting something, running it, and making money off of it. And finally, I'm class of 2018, sophomore year this year. So, swinging back to my project, the main idea, shipping refunds. Every package in the United States is guaranteed to be delivered on a certain day, on a certain time, down to the minute. If it's even 60 seconds late, you're guaranteed a full refund. The downside, FedEx and UPS make this process as difficult for you as it can be. My project aims to provide an automated alternative to claim your refund. Swinging back to my advisors, I had one expert advisor and 4 support advisors. My expert advisor was my uncle, Bennett Smith. He's the CEO of his own company, which develops apps called Focal Shift. My 4 support advisors were my sister, Abigail Smith, and my mom, Ingrid Smith. They helped me with design, whether it be websites, presentations like these, or journals. And then I had Peyton Kramer, a former classmate of mine, and Chad Lewis, a current senior project student. Inspiration for this project. My inspiration for this project was a combined interest in computer science and entrepreneurship that really propels what is the modern startup culture. Also, the motivation of money. Everybody likes to have a little bit of extra money, and it's even better if you can say that you made it by yourself, by something you created and that you love. And finally, doing something to stand out. Just doing something that's different from everybody else in order to help get into college and differentiate myself. So here's my logo. I wanted to keep it clean, modern, and simple. So I have a brain and a package. Obviously the package because I handle shipments, and the brain because I want to give off the feel that I know what I'm doing and that you should trust me. For colors, I picked blue, which represents innovation and moving towards the future, and orange, which represents strength. So on to my goals for my project. This year, I had 5 main goals for my project. The first of which was to design efficient software. This software should be able to allow users to automatically claim refunds on late packages that they have by themselves. And the second of which was to design a clean, modern website. In this day and age, you need a website to sell products, and a bad one's even worse than not having. The third of which was to learn to market a business. Obviously, a business is only successful if you have customers, and marketing is an essential part of attracting customers. The fourth was to bring a functional, desired product to market. I really wanted to bring something to market that was perfect because it represents me and my company. And I wanted to also bring something that people want to the market, because obviously if there's no want and need for it, it won't succeed. And my fifth and final goal was to turn a profit, which is obviously a good way to determine if a business is successful. So my strategy. It's no secret that I'm coming into a market that already exists. There are 2 other tech-based startups that do the exact same thing, 71 pounds and late shipping. But the market is by no means full. Across the US, about 8 to 15% of all packages delivered are considered late, and this amounts to nearly $2 billion per year in late shipments. So establishing a difference. Obviously, if I want people to choose my company, I need to establish a clear difference. With this, I wanted to bring my costs down, and I'm able to do this by not having a large team of developers, a fancy office, and the newest hardware. So my fee comes in at a flat 30%, compared to late shipments 35%, and 71 pounds is 50%. So I'm going to start with my initial timeline. It's pretty general because I didn't have the greatest idea of what I was going to be doing at the start of the year without any research. I planned to start my project in October after the other work in this class was over, the job shadow, the career comparison, and other things. I plan to formally start the business. In November, I plan to develop the website that I talked a little bit about before. In December, I plan to start developing my software for UPS and FedEx. In January, I plan to continue and finish this software. In February, I plan to test it and begin marketing. In March, I plan to bring it to market. This initial timeline was very ambitious as I didn't know exactly how I was going to be going about my specific goals. So what happened, as you can see up here, is very different from what was initially planned. In October, I did formally start my business. I formed an LLC in the state of Colorado. I'll get a little bit more into that in a minute. I established a bank account through Wells Fargo. I purchased domains for my business. I own refundgenius.com, .net, and .info. And I chose a hosting provider. I went with DigitalOcean to begin with because they were a cheap, reliable, and fast option. In November, I really just developed my website. It's WordPress-based. It's based on a theme called Divi, which a lot of modern startups use. It allows a lot of customizability though, so even if 2 people are using the same theme, you might not be able to notice it. And then I picked an invoicing system. Obviously, I need to accept payments if I want to be successful, and this was more difficult than initially planned. I'll get into this a little bit more later. In December, I did my job shadow. I did it at where my dad works, a company in Denver called Headwaters MB, with their IT head. He provided me a lot of information about working in the IT field and even had some prior expertise on subjects that overlapped with the scope of my project. Also in December, I refocused to just focusing on UPS. This was because developing software for both UPS and FedEx was too great of a goal to be accomplished in 1 year by one person. So I focused on just UPS and finishing the software before the end of the year and saving FedEx for a later date. In this month, I also begun developing the framework of my software to claim late shipments, just got registered with UPS and a lot of other not so important tasks. In January, I really began the development of my software. I began receiving tracking files, and I had the ability to translate these into a more readable and usable format. In February, I took my software and I was first able to successfully determine the status of a package, so late, not late, or late or not late. And I was able also to change my hardware from hosting it through DigitalOcean to hosting it locally at my house with my own hardware to save money and be able to have hardware that's more efficient for the tasks that I'm performing. In March, I tested my software, I updated my website, and I did some basic marketing research. So now getting into a little bit more specific. Starting a business. For this business, I formed an LLC in the state of Colorado. As you can see, here's part of the certificate that I have from the Office of the Secretary of the State. The purpose of forming an LLC is it protects individuals like myself from liabilities that the company may have. Also, it increases your credibility. Instead of being unincorporated or unestablished, you have basically just a title at the end of your company's name, which gives you more credibility. And it has a flexible management structure, which allows you, when you form the LLC, to also form an operating agreement, which allows you to specify how the business is going to run, how many shares are going to who, and etc. The disadvantages of forming an LLC, though. Costs and expenses. It does cost anywhere in between $100 and $300, depending on how much work you want to be done and how much you want to do yourself to form an LLC in the state of Colorado. And no transferable ownership. Once you establish shares in an LLC, it's often difficult to transfer them to other people, to sell them, or do something else with them. And then there's not as much legal precedent, just because an LLC is a relatively new form of company compared to a corporation, so there aren't as many existing cases with LLCs. Moving on. Developing my website was relatively easy. I used an off-the-shelf theme, as I said before, it's called Avery. But the difficult part was accepting payment. There's several different options for accepting payment. The first one that I went through was PayPal invoicing. The downsides to this was that it had an extremely high fee, 2.9% plus 30 cents on every transaction. So with an average refund, or with an average fee for me from a refund of about $3, I'm paying more than 10% to PayPal for invoicing. The second of which was accepting credit cards directly. Well, there's no set fee for this. You do have to open bank accounts, which often require minimum balances and other fees. But it does allow you flexibility in that you can charge credit cards whenever you want, and it's very easy. Another downside of this was it would require an additional layer of security. If I'm storing people's credit cards, I want to make 100% sure that nobody can access them, steal information. So I came to kind of a hybrid of these two options called Fusion Invoice. You can see part of it over here. It has a high versatility. With it, you can accept PayPal, Stripe, and Molly. There's a one-time fee of $79, and you do have to self-host it, which isn't an issue because I have my own hardware. But it's highly customizable. You're able to log in through Fusion Invoice, pay invoices. I'm able to send invoices, and it's customizable just like my theme, so I can make it match my website. Moving on to the software. This is a basic flowchart of how my software works. The two gray boxes up here are two separate computers. The first of which will retrieve a tracking file from UPS. It will copy this file to a new location, and it will translate it into a more readable format so I can work with it and determine which packages are late. This computer will output, as I said before, a more readable tracking file, which is then processed by a second computer, which retrieves this tracking file, determines if any packages on the list are late, and then lastly builds a new file of late packages. With this file, I can go to UPS and easily request a refund on the customer's behalf. So going into the basic concepts of retrieving and copying. I'm retrieving the file from UPS's enhanced tracking system. This works by letting customers allow me to piggyback off their business account and access certain functionalities. So through this, I'm able to request tracking information and to contact UPS on their behalf. This allows for peace of mind for customers, just because I won't be able to do everything on their account. I can't ship using their payment options, whether it be credit card or direct deposit or others. And then I take this file, which comes in the format of CSV. CSV is comma separated, it stands for comma separated variables. This will come in a long file of variables separated by comma names. I have an example up here of what it would look like. As you can see, there's item 1, number 1, date 1, item 2, number 2, date 2. So then I convert it into a MySQL table. This allows me to more easily compare dates and times where things were delivered and determine if the package is late. I do this using a short bit of code that you can see right here. The first line loads the CSV file. The second line loads it into a table. Here it's calling it table example. The third and fourth lines specify how the terms are separated. As you can see up here, 2 apostrophes and a comma, and then a comma here and 2 apostrophes and apostrophes. So it's kind of confusing, but the next line specifies that once you terminate your categories, you want to make a new line, so to separate rows in the table. And then the final line specifies the names of the columns. So if I run this example CSV file through this hypothetical code, I'll end up with something looking like this. Instead of having a long list of comma-separated things, I have columns that are easily readable with item number and date, and then all the items, the numbers, and the dates. Next, I determine if the package is actually linked. I do this by comparing two columns in the MySQL file that I built. Through UPS, I'm able to find the date the package was delivered and the date the package was supposed to be delivered. Through a simple comparison, I can figure out if it's late. If the time it was delivered is greater than the time that it was supposed to be delivered, it's late. So I take my file up here, my MySQL, this is another example file. As you can see, package number 1 and package number 3 should be late. They were delivered after they were supposed to be delivered. And I run it through this code, which creates a new table with columns, time delivered, or tracking number, time delivered, and time planned delivery. And then I insert these into a new table with the same columns, given the fact that time delivered is greater than the time it was supposed to be delivered. Through this, I'm able to export a simple file of all of the packages that are late. So if I ran this through this, I'd end up with something kind of like this, with the tracking number, the time delivered, and the time planned delivery, and then I can send this directly to UPS in order to request refund. Next, the basic concepts of testing. This was initially a major pitfall in my project because I assumed that I would need to test my product on someone who shipped hundreds, if not thousands, of packages in order to have sample data to perform my program on and have late packages. After this was initially unsuccessful, I began testing the program with dummy files. So basically, I would take an existing tracking file and modify certain columns. This can be done through easy programs such as Excel or other MySQL managing tools. And I'm able to create controls with this. So I can set up a package that I know is late, run it through my software, and check if it's late. In terms of hardware, I started the year hosting my site and my software through DigitalOcean. This was extremely expensive. It was about $35 to $40 a month to host, and it didn't provide the performance that I wanted. So I decided to build my own servers. I have two identical servers, as you saw before, in the two gray boxes in the flowchart. They're a mix of desktop and server hardware just to save money, and but still provide the sensor reliability that the server components give. So I'm running the two servers off AMD FX series CPUs, 16 gigabytes of server RAM, and Western Digital Red Pro hard drives. For the power supplies, I'm running 430 watt modular supplies, and the power draw is about 335 watts per system, which is about average for a machine of this size. If you want to see the interior of one of these servers, I have one on my table after this presentation. So next, on to future outcomes. For the near future, I'd like to launch my product into the market by mid-2016. Additionally, I'd like to add back in the FedEx compatibility that I lost once I consolidated my time. For the website, I'd really like to build a website with full account functionality. And then as a reach goal, I'd like to be able to bring this business to venture capitalists and attempt to receive funding and establish it as a funded business. So now my bibliography, and I'll be taking any questions.
Does it file a report to UPS or?
It does not yet file a report to UPS, but with that file of late packages that I have, I'm easily able to send that to UPS. In writing isn't technically in writing. You can do it through an email and request a refund on the list of packages. With taxes, you're refunded the full amount plus the tax you paid. And then on my end, I'm not quite sure what I'd be paying, but I don't think it's sales tax just because it's not selling an item, so I'm not sure.
Have you figured the number of packages you would need each month or each week to kind of be maintainable as a business?
To be maintainable as a business, just for myself right now, I don't have many expenses, but I hope as a goal to, within a year, to handle $10,000 worth of packages per month.
Do you have permission from UPS to, are they allowed to give you the money that other people's refunds?
So the way that refunding works is that once I request a refund on the customer's behalf, it will show up directly back into their UPS account, and then when they ship, they'll be credited back, and then I will invoice the customers, and they'll pay via credit card or, as you saw, PayPal or other options.
As far as the date goes, you were to show in time, so like 9:30, if you were showing up at 9:30 tomorrow, and you're supposed to be today, is there a way that you could change it to where it's showing the actual date as well?
Yeah, it doesn't actually come as a time that looks like that. I just use that as kind of a basic example. So it comes as a time with month, year, date, and time.
Okay, obviously the bell's just rung, so you guys are all free to go. If you have further questions for Avery, please feel free to come meet with him at his table. Very well done.